Hello, marhaba. Fatima here. Fatima huna. مساء الخير. صباح الخير. كيف الحال? How are you? Inshallah, أنت بخير. Hopefully you are well. Today is day 5 of VEDA, vlogging every day in August. And I am here with topic number 5. So the 5th topic is going to be around finding your motivation and staying consistent. I will be sharing tips on how to stay motivated. Now, motivation and being consistent are two different things, but they definitely work together whenever you are trying to accomplish goals. So let's talk about things from the dictionary. Motivation. What is motivation? It is the general desire or willingness for someone to do something. Okay, well, what is consistency? I like this version of consistency and walk with me. It's the way in which a substance, typically a liquid, holds together. Thickness or viscosity? I don't even know that word. What is that word? Thickness, okay? So think about it, like when you have like a lotion, for instance, that's full of like oils and butters and all the things, if you don't use the lotion every single day, the consistency within that lotion will not be there and it will begin to separate. So the oils and the butters and all the things will separate, and then you'll need to shake it up or mix it together in order for it to work. And then it may not even still be the same as it was before. It'll work, but it may not get to where it was before, depending on how long it's been since you've used it, right? So if it's just like a week and it begins to separate slowly, you may not even notice it. But if it's like 6 months to a year that you haven't used it for whatever reason, it's going to be a huge difference. So I like that version of consistency. It's like literally the feel of something versus just the typical thing in which you do something that's necessary for the sake of logic, accuracy, or fairness. Like that's right. Like you're doing it for those things. That's normally what consistency means. But anyway, let's talk about how consistency and motivation kind of work together. So Psychulator says essentially consistency centers around action while motivation relates to desire. Although motivation sparks the initial action, it is consistency that ultimately prevails in achieving goals, especially on days when motivation may falter. Right? So it's like you got to be consistent with or without the motivation. And I think about that when it comes to what you do in your daily life that you may not want to. What are some things in your daily life that you do that you may not want to? If you are in working age and you have to work every single day, Monday through Friday, if you have to work one or more jobs, you're doing that not even on the days that you're motivated. You're doing it because in order to get that paycheck, you have to be consistently showing up at work, working your designated schedule, and doing whatever needs to be done to make sure that you can keep the job and get paid. Because why? That paycheck is going to allow you to do the things that you want to do in life, not even want, right? That you need. You need to have food, water, and shelter, right? Clothing, the basic necessities in order to survive as a human in this world. That is what normally motivates us to go to work, right? Like those things motivate us to go to work. But consistency is why we are being rewarded to get the money to do the things that we want to do and to get the things that we want and need. So that's something that I think about, because it's kind of like you're not always motivated to go to work, but you consistently show up every single day. You may not even be motivated every day to brush your teeth. But we all know, like, if you don't brush your teeth, there will be a lot of issues to follow, okay? Not even the shame or embarrassment of going to the dentist and basically telling them that you have a disgusting mouth, but even the fact that you have to deal with the pain of whatever toothache is going to come from you not taking care of your teeth, or the unfortunate event of having to get a tooth pulled, and then the money that you're going to have to spend in either getting it replaced or once again, like the adjustments that you're going to have to make because it's no longer there. So when we think about the practical things, it's like we're not always motivated to do the things that we want, that we need to do in order to have a quality life. But the consistency, even in those times of having low motivation, is what gets us over to the other side and making sure that we have and can maintain the life that we desire, right? So how does motivation and consistency work together to help you achieve their goals? Well, motivation, again, is that inner drive to achieve something. Motivation is what helps you get started and overcome obstacles. However, motivation can fluctuate. So it's important to develop habits that can help sustain it. Some habits that can help may include the following. Again, habits. Habits are also around that same line of being consistent. So choosing goals that actually interest you. If you're learning a language, obviously it is interesting to you. In most cases, I doubt that a lot of people are learning a language because they absolutely positively have to in order to survive in a certain way, right? But even if you are having to do that because you need to survive, that interest there may not be the language, but it is, what is the language? What is learning that language going to help me accomplish? Developing a routine. Routine is very important. And that's why people will tell you, like, even 10 to 15 minutes a day of learning your language, just stick with that, because it's kind of like, even though that is going to take you way longer to become fluent or even conversational in a language, it's the fact that you're still doing it every single day, consistently building that habit, even when motivation may be low. You did the thing, you checked out the box, and you applied yourself to it. And also on days where you have low motivation, if you do and start off with that 10 to 15 minutes, it might end up leading to more, because you're like, well, I'm already doing it now, so maybe I can just do it a little bit longer. Surrounding yourself with a positive support network. I spoke about this before. That network for me is definitely my son, my husband, and my classmates, my ustada, everyone that is around me that's also learning. Finding a mentor. A mentor, as far as language learning goes, could possibly just simply be a tutor. Regularly reviewing your goals and progress. For me, that's another reason why I am in school, is because I'm able to see, okay, what did we already cover? What are we going to cover? What have I learned? How far have I come? The grades don't necessarily matter, although I am definitely grade motivated. I want all A's. That's what I've always been motivated to get since I was a little girl, but that is not necessarily the motivating factor, right? You can get all A's and still not know the language. For me, it is about like, oh, if I'm reading a new story, am I keeping up with the vocabulary? If my husband says certain things to me in a dialect, am I able to still kind of figure it out based on what I have been learning in school so far, based off of context clues? Like, my mind is just working a lot differently. So yeah, those are different things that you can do as well to review. Putting your goal on the calendar. For me, that goal obviously is to get my associates at the end of December 2025. That's the goal, right? And the goal is not necessarily the associates, but if I get the associates, I would have learned a lot about the Arabic language, not just about it, but actually producing the language, just based on the progression that I'm making from elementary 1 all the way to intermediate 2. Right? Inshallah. And then rewarding yourself for small wins. That's very important. And I think that rewarding yourself can be whatever you like, right? So if that's like a treat, like, oh, I'm going to go out and buy a coffee for myself versus making one at home. And that's normally like what I do. Like, I normally cook throughout the week, and then my treat is I get a chance to go out. Now, I don't go out and get just any kind of meal. It's normally a healthy meal, but still, that's a treat for me because I don't have to cook and then clean up after that. And that does relate to language learning. All right, now let's move on to consistency. Consistency is the ability to stay focused and committed to a task or habit. Consistency is what helps you make progression every day and builds habits that leads to success. Some tips for becoming more consistent include setting clear goals, right? So when you set the goals and they are clear, you will be able to regularly review those goals, going back to motivation. Learning how to prioritize what is important. For me, that is learning the language so that I can actually understand it when I am being spoken to, when different people are saying things to me in different ways, when I'm watching different shows. It's so many different things on how to prioritize. So there's so many different things, that you want to accomplish when learning a language, but what's the main priority? So the priority for me is getting through each week at school, growing and thriving off of the previous week to the next week. Recording your progress. So again, because I am in school, I'm able to record that progress through the assignments that I'm turning in and the feedback that I'm getting from my ustada, and then also making these types of videos where I am recording my progress, how far I've come. Limiting distractions. So for me, I am no longer on social media as it pertains to just casual, leisurely things. And I also don't watch TV in a casually, leisurely way where it's like you may binge watch trash TV. Like, those days are long gone. And it's not because those things are bad. It's because those things are a distraction. Like, really, there's nothing that I need to keep up with. Like, these celebrities are going to be celebrating with or without me being focused. So it doesn't really matter. So my main focus now is Arabic everything. So I have a YouTube channel dedicated to just Arabic text, and Instagram page dedicated to just Arabic. You know what I mean? So my main focus right now is Arabic. And then tracking time. Now, tracking time, the way that I've been tracking time really has just been day-to-day type of thing and assignments. But I think that now I might get into it. It's just the fact that I study and I do things sporadically, and I may not have my phone near me or whatever device near me to track the time. That is an excuse. It sounds like an excuse because it is, but it's the truth. So I do need to work on tracking my time to prove that I'm consistent, but I prove to myself that I'm consistent just because, like I said, I'm in school, and if I'm not doing the thing that I need to do, then the grades are going to show for that as well. So for me, I'm definitely consistent, but I do need to track the time. Maybe, inshallah, we'll see. And the last thing is be patient and forgive your failures. And we can even rephrase that last one about forgive your failures as love your learnings. Love your learnings. Failure to me is an opportunity to learn. What can you do to improve? What went wrong? And analyzing it, and then just iterate on that. So those are the different things and kind of bullet points that I wanted to discuss as it relates to motivation and consistency, how those two things work together for not just Arabic or language learning, but for all of your goals. And I think it's something that people often talk about so much. And for me, the biggest thing that I realized is that motivation is what gets the idea started, but consistency is what gets you to the finish line. It's not motivation. And I think that that's the thing, is we have to look back on the things in life that we start off as we're really motivated to go to college, and then by junior year, first semester, we're like, oh my God, when is this going to be over? But we consistently show up, and then we graduate. Same thing, you know what I mean? Work, you're motivated to show up to work, get the job, and then it's oh my God, I hate this place. But then it's well, dang, if I work really hard, maybe I can get a raise or a promotion. Then that motivates you to do the thing, and then when you get it, the cycle starts over again. So for me, it's about being okay and comfortable in that cycle of motivation goes away, but consistency is still here, and that's what's gonna get me over to the finish line, whatever that finish line is. Right? So inshallah, you learned something and you found the video to be informative. If you did, definitely like the video, comment your thoughts, share it with someone who may need to hear it, save it for yourself for later, and subscribe to the channel to join our little community of language learning. All things language learning right now, but who knows where it may grow into. But anyway, until next time, folks, ma'asalama.